you all to today's webinar on the importance of rethinking or reshaping your goals and beliefs in life. I am Soumya, the partner president of IDCN Copenhagen, and I belong to the management team. I've been associated with IDCN for over a year now, and it's been a wonderful journey for me. So let me walk you through today's agenda. I'll be making a very short presentation about IDCN. Then we move on to the presentation by our speaker today, Barbara. And I'm sure all of you must be eagerly waiting to listen to her. Then it would be followed by a Q&A session and live questions. Talking about the Q&A session, we already have some pre-collected questions to which Barbara would be answering, but we also have an opportunity of having live questions from the audience. So please go ahead and shoot your questions in the chat, and me and my team will try our best to take them up towards the end of the webinar. Let's move on to IDCN. So from the map, you can very well see that IDCN has a global presence. It is located in 14 countries worldwide, and we have over 100 corporate partners associated with us. But how did it start? So it was first launched in the year 2011 in Switzerland. But now it has grown, and you can see that it is visible or located worldwide. Specifically talking about IDCN Copenhagen, it was first launched in March 2016 by 5 founding companies and organizations, namely Technical University of Denmark, University of Copenhagen, Maersk, Novo Nordisk, and Vestas. Who we are? Well, to answer to that, we are a non-profit association formed through the collaboration of companies, NGOs, and academic institutions, run and organized by partner members like us on a voluntary basis. And what do? Well, we facilitate the job search and integration of mobile employee partners through generating awareness, guidance, professional networking, and thus help them to achieve success. If you look at this particular slide, you will see that IDCN Copenhagen has business collaborations with over 20 of the big companies and institutions all over. And this is growing day by day. And our most recent corporate members, or the most recent addition, have been Total and Unity. So you must be thinking what it is to be associated with IDCN, or what value would it bring to me? To let you know that IDCN helps you in professional advice, gives you a social and emotional support. And I think as expats, when we move to a new country, this is something which we are really looking forward to. And it provides you a network. So if you are in Denmark, you would know how important having a good network is. So IDCN helps you in building a good network. It also helps you in increasing your awareness about the Danish job market. This again is something important because you cannot land into a job until you know the job market of that country. So by now, if you might be thinking of joining us as a volunteer, let me tell you that joining IDCN as a volunteer has its own benefits. Some of which are that your profile would get a boost, definitely, and you will not only obtain new skills, but would perhaps develop the existing ones you already have. Let me walk you through the structure of IDCN Copenhagen. So we comprise of 5 teams: the management team, communication team, events, membership, and measurements. And each team is mentored by a corporate member. So the management team has mentors from the University of Copenhagen, the communication team has mentors from Danske Bank, and likewise. So if by now you might be thinking of joining IDCN, I think I have made it more easy for you. And still, if you have some questions, please don't hesitate to contact us on copenhagen@idcn.info. Thank you so much. Now let's move on to the presentation by Barbara. Barbara, over to you.
Thank you so much. I hope you can see me well, all of you. First of all, I would like to say thank you for having me and having this honor to actually be sharing the knowledge and information on what I do with you. I really believe it's going to be very beneficial. So let me just share my screen and I will start up with the presentation right away. Here we go. Great. So wonderful. As it was already introduced, I'm going to be talking about the importance of rethinking or reshaping your goals and beliefs in life. We're going to get into a second. I just would like to first guide you through the agenda. So we will cover today, I will introduce myself a little bit so you know who I am, where I'm coming from, and all of this. So you can a little bit relate and have a background of who is that person who is giving you this presentation. Then we're going to talk about beliefs. We're going to be talking and touching upon why reshaping beliefs is truly important. Then I got a little exercise for you as well, so you can put the things into practice, because that's where the magic happens, right? I guess you are getting a lot of information, but really the biggest difference is when we actually start to act on what we already know. Then we're going to talk about this little secret, like how actually to be dealing with beliefs, how to rethink them or reshape them if they are not bringing you the desired result that you would like. And then we ended up with some little reminders that you can take away with you as well. Here we go. Great. So first of all, who am I? I'm expat as well, as most of you, or as all of you, if I understood it correctly. I'm originally coming from Slovakia, but I am living abroad for 11 years already. First, after high school, straight away, I moved to Denmark, to Copenhagen, when I've been studying the university. Then I took a little bit of break from Scandinavia and I flew to Canada when I continued studies. Then I got back to Denmark, to Copenhagen, and then again I went to England, to London. So I've been a little bit all around. At this very moment, as I'm working on my own, I'm mostly in Sweden, in Malmö, but I'm very active still in Copenhagen, and I am there for quite a lot. I really love the city. It feels like home for me because I've been through the worst and the best in my life, to be honest. So I really have a deep connection to the city, and it really feels like this is the place where I'm gonna stay. So just so you know where I am located as well, and having a little bit of background of that. My educational background is in health and nutrition, and I've been studied a lot of human behavior and positive psychology, and I've been also studying for 8 to 9 years, I would say, personal development and mindset. And that's what I'm working right now with, mostly, even though I still incorporate a lot of health and wellness things. But what I really understood along my practice with health advising and helping people with their nutritional needs or any other lifestyle things they needed to help with was that it really all needs to first start in their head. It really all is coming up to our minds and how the mindset we have and the thoughts we are entertaining and all of that. And I got so fascinated by that that I decided that this is going to be something I'm going to dedicate my life to. I've also been through some severe health problems and mindset, and really the beliefs I was having and the thoughts I was feeding my mind and like my brain with was something that that really saved me and that helped me a lot along the whole process. So I really talk from experience. This is something that I live by every single day, as well as sharing it and spreading it to people who actually want to take the journey of personal development and maybe changing something in their mindset in order to get the results they want. One of the biggest how I say impacts in my life was a gentleman named Bob Proctor, who I started cooperating with, and I was learning from him. And as he is, I would say, the number one person when it comes to personal development and human potential. So all the teachings I'm also sharing and facilitating to my clients or people I work with have the foundation of his teachings. And even though I work independently, I am mentored by him, and we constantly are in touch, and we meet 3 or 2 times a year when the situation allows, of course, and we grow together. So just so you, maybe some of you know him, maybe some of you not. I would say he's more known in US or in Canada as he's Canadian, but still he was the person who made the biggest difference in my life. And I just feel so grateful that I could get into such a powerful information in such a young age. And I'm so glad to be sharing that. Amazing. So that was for the introduction a little bit. And now we're going to talk some beliefs. I would like you to really think and ask yourself what the beliefs you have. Doesn't matter the area of what you are thinking, if it's towards relationship, if it is towards the situation that is happening right now, your professional situation, looking for a job, how you feel maybe about yourself, what are the beliefs you have about yourself, what are those thoughts that you are thinking on an everyday basis towards your own person. It's very, very important that we're starting with beliefs and talking about it, because literally everything you believe will manifest to physical reality. Like the belief system that is built out of thoughts is such a huge impact on your, or everything you're gonna create, or everything that's gonna show up in your physical life. So it's really, really important to start first in your head. So if you have any kind of belief that you can tell, okay, this is a really destructive thought that I'm having, it's really very important to be aware of that and try to change that. Because really what is happening on the screen of our minds, like what is in, we are getting through hundreds of thousands of thoughts a day. It's crazy what is happening in there. Like it can get really busy, it can get really chaotic. And the thing is that if you really are believing in something that is not serving you, that is more harming you, that you feel more of frustrated or anxious or sad or upset or angry, like that's just the outcomes and the results you're going to see in your physical world. And again, we can apply this to career, looking for a job. We can apply this to financial situation. We can apply this to the relationships we have. We can apply this to the health. It really all starts with a thought. A lot of times we think that the results we have are messing with our mind, with our heads, but actually the opposite is the truth. If you have the chaos in your mind, that's why there is a chaos all over you, like how disorganized you might be, if something is going well or if something is not going well, all of these things. So really what we first need to start is to take care of the thoughts and the beliefs we keep in here, to do that kind of mental inventory, I call it, and really make an order there. Because order is heaven's first law. That's how it works. And the sooner we really know what is happening in there, the better we can navigate and the better we can understand why our physical results are showing as they are showing. Okay. I would like now to take maybe 2 or 3 minutes really for you and to ask yourself, what are my current beliefs? Like, what is, pick the area you're really struggling at, like either it's career, finding a job, or maybe just the relationship are not as great. Maybe something happened, or maybe there is showing on your health, like whatever area you want. I know that now we are mostly oriented to professional, but I just don't want to exclude anything. I just really want you to just consciously think and reflect. And like very openly, without any judgment whatsoever. This is not, just take it as a neutral feedback. Like, I don't want you to blame yourself or feel even more guilty or anything like that. Just very honestly write down, okay, what are my current beliefs towards, let's say, my professional situation? And I literally leave you these 2 or 3 minutes because I really want you to do this, because this is where all starts. So I will be quiet for a bit. I will just look on my phone for 2 or 3 minutes. And I would really appreciate if you can do this with me. Okay? So the space is yours. You have 3 minutes. Okay. I hope something came up for you. Maybe it will come even more later on. Just leave it the flow as it is. And as I said, the most important thing is not to be judging it, just really listening to, what is there happening inside, like what is that inner chatter that you are having. And you can always, if you are dealing with something, or when there is any challenge or anything like that, or if you don't feel well, just write it down. Okay, what is my belief towards this or that? And then you can clearly see that if it's something that is not very positive, or if it's something that is harmful, or it's creating pain and uncertainty and all of these things, then you know that you need to start to change there. So a lot of times, or most of the beliefs we have are negative beliefs. This is just some examples. Maybe some of this came up for you. It was something that I really been dealing with in my past. All of these questionings: who am I to do this? It will be really hard. What will others think of me? What if I will fail? What if it will not work out? It is impossible to find a job right now. And all of these statements are equal to beliefs a lot of us are carrying in our minds and in our heads and for years, literally. So the thing is that I want you to know that it is just a belief. It's an old belief, or it's some kind of belief that might have been passed on you even through generations. It might be passed on you through, I don't know, the society, the culture, the mentality, maybe someone's opinions, maybe someone told you something and you've been very vulnerable in that point, and that affected and shaped that kind of belief. But those beliefs are not necessarily true. We can always change them. We can always work with them. Like they are just created according to something that happened to us through experience and through different situations, as I said. So this is not defining you, or any other negative beliefs that might be holding you back. They are not defining you. You can change them. You can reshape them. You can rethink yourself towards different beliefs, and those different beliefs will give you different results, will help you to achieve different goals that you want actually achieve. So what is the secret, like how to do this, or where to start? You really need to realign your mind to match your desires. So usually when you are having these limiting beliefs that we've been just talking upon, they are not your desire. They are not matching to what you want, right? They are just all these, the things from the past that are chasing us. They just seem to always be, like to having us, and like we cannot run away from them. But what you want to do is to really match your mind, which means your thoughts, with what you want. To look at the outcomes, to think of the outcomes that you desire. So instead of thinking of what you don't want, instead of thinking of all of these, that's all of those limitations of yours that you might think you have, to focus on the strengths and to focus on the things that are actually, the qualities and characteristics and personal traits that you have, and they are fantastic. So as you see on this little graph, how shall I call it? Really, the beliefs are in the middle, right? And the beliefs are shaped by our thoughts. That's what I've already mentioned before. So it is really your thought process, the train of thoughts you are entertaining, you are feeding, you are embodying, you are internalizing. That's what is shaping your beliefs. And those beliefs are creating the reality. They're bringing the results. They are meeting the outcomes you want or what you don't want. So let's put it like this. If your thought is, okay, I'm not good enough. Let's say this is my thought. I am not good enough. It is creating the belief about me. It doesn't feel good, right? If I am constantly having this in my mind, oh, I'm not good enough, I cannot do this, I'm too young, I'm too old, I'm too new in this country, I'm not even from this country, everything is much harder. If I'm constantly occupying, and if I'm constantly feeding these thoughts, it's creating my deeper beliefs. It's creating the beliefs on a subconscious level of your mind. Okay, now we're going a little bit deeper. And those beliefs, because they are so strongly inside of us, they are actually creating the reality. So if my belief about me is that I cannot do this, I will never take an action towards doing something. And therefore, my reality will reflect that, right? if I would switch, if we would wrap it up, if I would be saying, oh, I can totally do this, like I I am my own resource. I have all the resources I need. I will just work with what I have right now, and I'm confident to do it. So if we, with these kind of thoughts, because it feels empowering, it feels good. With those kind of thoughts, you create a belief that, okay, I can do it. I actually can do it, and therefore your reality, because your belief is saying you can do it, and you will probably, or most likely you will, if you believe you can do it, you will put things into action, right? You will try, you will give it a shot, or if that doesn't work, then you will try something else. So, and that eventually will reflect on your reality that you achieve that, right? In a very simple, this is a very simple, sometimes of course things are more complex and more complicated, but I just want you to have a good example of how this is working. So it really all starts with your thoughts. So how to do it, like how to reshape those beliefs, and how to watch, not how to watch, how to be aware of the thoughts. So as I said, like watch your thoughts. The little exercise I told you, like what are my current beliefs? Your current beliefs are actually reflecting your thoughts. So give it a try, like pause when you have a day or in the morning as a first thing. It literally takes 5 minutes. You don't need to make a huge exercise out of it. It's not going to be consuming you a lot of time, but watch your thoughts. Or you can do exercise even when you are showering or if you are cooking. Just, of course, it's impossible to keep a track of all of the thoughts, because we really, the last neuroplasticity seminar I was doing shows that we are getting hundreds of thousands thoughts a day. So of course you might not be keeping a track with each of them, but some of them you can actually, like, inside the voice you can hear if that is saying you, oh, I cannot do it, or whatever there is, or I don't feel like this is too hard, or no, this is impossible, or no, she's better for that, I need another education, or I need to read another book. Like all of these things are just limiting beliefs. So, and they are created by the thoughts. So watch your thoughts. You can even do, if you want, like do an exercise, like really sit for 10 minutes and just be there with the silence and like literally spot the thoughts that are going through your mind. We are so disconnected from ourselves in today's very high-paced living. There's always constant noise around us. Either it's social media or news or opinions of others, or just that you need to do laundry, you need to do that, you need to do that. Like we are just so busy. There's so much of chaos. It's a constant chase going on in our minds. And that's the thing we need to change. We need to prioritize. We need to start with, okay, let's maybe sit for 5 or 10 minutes, as I said, and let's watch, like let's observe what is happening here. Because I know everything what's happening here is creating what I see in reality as a result. Then it's really the first and fundamental essential place to start with. So watch the thoughts, be disciplined with your mind, right? Like if you, let's say that you spotted some of the current beliefs, right? Maybe there's one or two that are particularly yours, like I just an example, I used to have the belief that I'm too young, right, to do such a thing, even though I started in my early 20s. I'm 29 now, and I started with personal development when I was 21. So I was always thinking, oh, who's going to believe me? I am still very young. Like no one is going to be, like I had that limiting belief. And then I was very aware of that it's popping up into my mind. And then I started to be very disciplined with my thoughts and with my mind. And every time it would pop up, I would just, it's here. And I would reject it. I would just not accept it, that it's my truth, because I knew it was a limiting belief. It is just a limiting belief, as I said before. Everything just is, and you make it what it is. Nothing is good or bad. Everything is just relevant. Like, you make it what it is. Be mindful is another thing. This is very much connected to what I said, that we are living in such a high pace living right now, and the world, and competition and like comparisons all the times. But just be mindful, just be present, just slow down, like wind down, and really just find that presence, and that can be very, very helpful. Whatever it means. For some people, it might mean meditation. For some people, it might mean cooking. For some people, it might mean just going for a walk, to listen to music, to be journaling. Whatever it is, there is no right or wrong. Maybe you need to try. Maybe you haven't tried any of those things. Maybe you start writing tomorrow morning and you feel, oh, writing is not really my thing. I will maybe try to listen to some music, or I will go to the nature. Right? Anything what works, what brings you more towards mindfulness and presence, just do that. And again, it doesn't need to be 2 hours of a day. If it can, good. But even if it's 10 minutes, I always say even 10 minutes is better than nothing. Even 5 minutes is better than nothing. So just remember that. Be aware of the inner chatter, right? That inner chatter that we always have. I call it these noisy neighbors we have in our head, like or these roommates, maybe even better word for that, like there's always something going on. Be aware of what is going on. Observe. Again, to observe these things, again, when you come to be being more mindful, more present, you will be more aware of everything what is happening within you, not only in your mind, but also with your body, right? Like a lot of times we don't even know that we are stuff in our shoulders or in our neck, because we are just so much always in doing and all of that. So it's very, very important to actually be present and be mindful, also in order to be aware of the inner chatter. And one of the last points I put there is to think of what you want instead of what you don't want. So instead of thinking, this is a very, very important point. Instead of saying, or in your mind saying, I don't want to be rejected by next application. Say, I'm so happy that I'm accepted, that I'm actually getting in. Just change the language. How we also speak, both aloud and also in a silence, has a huge effect on the beliefs we create. So this is a very, very good tip to just flip it. If there's something you don't want, just flip it to the opposite. Because obviously what you don't want, there is the direct opposite to what you want. And be putting your energy towards that. So as I already touched upon, your mindset really is everything. This is where it all starts. When you change the way you look at things you look at change. I will just repeat it once again because I think it's very powerful. When you change the way you look at things you look at change. Again, when we're coming to the mindset thing, like once you switch your mindset, once you reset, once you reshape those beliefs that are hugely connected to the mindset, everything is like you enter a new world. Like what you focus on, you attract more of. Where you put your energy, that's what's coming more of. On the other hand, what you resist persists. So if you are resilient to something, if you're really putting your energy out there, that's what you're getting more out of. So I'm going to give you some little tips that might be also very helpful. First one is, in life, the grass will always look greener on the other side until you start watering the side you are on. This is something that we often look how others have it, or like we comparing or contrasting ourselves instead of really focusing on what we already have and what we can do with what we have inside of us. Because really, you are your own resource. As I said before, you are resourceful. And you have no clue how much of potential you have locked inside of you. And it's mostly because of those limiting beliefs that are holding you back that much, and those need to be unblocked first. But focus on what you want. Like, don't compare it. Don't listen to what they say is good to do. Just focus on what you want and adapt the mindset towards that, and you will see that the changes will happen. Another one, during these crazy times, it's especially important to be aware, conscious, and mindful of what and who you are contrasting your life against. So again, as I said, especially now when everything is so unpredictable, we have two choices. So either you contrast your life up, and I chose this word contrast on purpose. I didn't want to say the word compare because I think it doesn't do any good to be using word comparing, because it's so much comparison everywhere. And I think we need to get out of that and like not seeing anything as comparing, but more of cooperating together as each individual, but on collective basis at the end. So when you contrast your life up, so to how your life was pre-COVID, or to someone who is, more successful or more fortunate, you might say, it leads to self-pity, ungratefulness, and ultimate unhappiness. Very, very important point. So if you know it is leading there, and it is leading there, that's how we are wired, don't go there. Instead, when you contrast your life down, let's say to billions of people who would do anything to do what you have, or to be in your shoes, you realize that how many things you have to be grateful for. Then you really meet with a gratitude, and that is the best thing you can do on everyday basis. Anytime you are, even if you are facing any challenge, if you even in a bad situation or in a challenging situation, when you can find few things you are grateful for, that puts you on a completely different energy, and it really leads eventually to happiness. So yes, and the last one is, make a habit of reminding yourself how grateful you are to be where you are, with whatever. Having your healthy body, as I write here, having your healthy eyes. You are so fortunate or blessed even to see what I'm saying right now, right? You have a computer, you have Wi-Fi, I don't know, you have your phone, however, you are in this community. Like, there's so many things to be grateful for, not even mentioning maybe your family, or the partner, maybe what you have, a wife or husband or spouse, or just people around you, the relationships, the fridge full of food, the ability to actually see, hear, feel, smell, and touch, all of these little things that we are taking for granted, usually because we are not really putting that much of importance, because it's automatic that I open my eyes and I see things, right? Well, it's not so common for all of us, or for all people around. And it's something definitely to be grateful for sure. Okay, so life has a magical way of giving grateful people even more things to be grateful for. That's again bringing us to what you focus on, you attract more of. When you are consciously grateful for things, the more of those things that you will be grateful for will come towards your way. Okay? And there's the last things before we go to the questions, because there's almost the time for us to do that. I would really like you to put some things to practice. I am a huge, always when I work with someone, either when we go through mentoring or with coaching, I always say the key is to put things into action. Like, we have such a huge gap between what we know and what we do. We have so many information. We have education, we have books, we have news. There are always information coming in. But what makes really the difference is to apply things and put them into action, put them into practice, right? So knowledge is not power. Applied knowledge is power. So even if you can take just one thing from this presentation, or from the questions we're going to do after, even if it's just one thing, put it into practice. Do not overwhelm yourself. Not try to do everything if you know it's even more destructive. Less is more, always. Okay, so let's get back to these 4 points that I created for you. So first of all, create empowering beliefs. You remember the exercise we did earlier when I asked you about your current beliefs? If they are limiting, if they are destructive for you, if you can objectively say, okay, this belief is not doing me any good, then create an empowering belief towards the same, statement that you had. Just flip it. Just imagine how you want it to be and create an empowering belief and try to embody that every single day. Read it, say it out loud. I don't know, put it on your phone as a background. Do whatever works for you, but be more exposed to empowering beliefs. Second one, write down things you're grateful for daily. This is really something that I can, if I can say to implement just one thing into your everyday life, is to start with gratitude practice, really. So if you can do more, do more. If you do 9, it's okay. Again, better than perfect. I really believe it's not that hard to find even 10 things you're grateful for daily. It can be anything, literally. I don't know, that you have functional arms, that you like your hair, whatever it is. Nothing is too small. Nothing is too big. Please don't think that you need to find something huge to be grateful for. It's usually those little things that we don't even realize, but they make the biggest difference. Number 3, read something uplifting as the first thing in the morning and last thing before bed. Reason being that is that our subconscious mind is widely open right after you wake up and right before you go to bed. So it's crucial to put the information that will set you for a good day and that will set you for a good sleep, because a lot of things are happening in the sleep after as well. So for example, if you start the morning and if you just read, I don't know, a little paragraph of your favorite quote or something in your inspirational book, or maybe you do this gratitude as a first thing, that literally sets you, it creates this frame, this amazing thing to protect you, to not to, if you would, first thing what you would see would be, I don't know, news about how many more people died. The vibration you get into your body will be holding with you along the whole day. That might lead to procrastination, it might lead to being unhappy, that might lead to not being productive or effective, and all of these things. So it's really, really important when we come back to the science of how our mind works. Really, the subconscious is widely open as of first 1 or 2 hours, which we want to soak in all of these empowering information that are helping us to stay, resilient, mentally strong. And the same when we go to bed. When you are watching a violent movie or, again, bad news, it's processing in your sleep while you sleep. And that's how your beliefs are also created on a subconscious level. So it doesn't need to be an hour. Again, it can be 15 minutes. Maybe you create a routine. Okay, I start the morning every day with, I don't know, stretching and looking out of the window and saying 3 things out loud. Amazing. Or when you go to sleep, again, you can watch something nice, and then before, like, I don't know, half an hour, you just journal about the things you are grateful for, or you read some nice book that is uplifting, again, empowering. Okay, and the last one is choosing the attitude of possibilities. Like, choose the outlook that things are possible, that you actually can do them. As I said, your potential is infinite. You are capable. Go to that place of, free yourself of limitations and think, like, what if this can work? Like, always ask, what if this will work, and try it. Really, the attitude and the outlook we have on things is a huge thing. We might not even be thinking how huge impact it has, but it really does. There's a lot of people who might be talented and skilled, but if do not have good attitude, the results was not going to be good. The attitude is almost everything, really, and is again connected to the mind. So instead, when you think you cannot, you can't. You always can. Always take it from the place of the land of possibilities. I always say it when I work with someone. They say, "Oh, I cannot do it. It's impossible to do it." I say, "Okay, let's go to the land of possibilities." And if you are there, then everything is gonna go well, because it will, because that's how it works. So I do not have that much more, and I think it's perfect with the timing as well. So thank you so much for your time. There are a few things you can reach me out at if there is anything at all, even to say hi, or even if you need maybe something more of the help, or maybe if your question wouldn't be answered, like, please reach out. I will be glad to help if I can. Okay, so I will stop sharing. I guess that's my job right now, and we're gonna move to questions.
Oh, Barbara, thank you so much. Rather, we feel grateful to have been able to listen to you today. Thank you for reminding us to be grateful for the little things we have in life, because definitely we do take them for granted. And also, I can vouch for the power of positive thoughts. And after listening to you, I'm sure all of us will try our best to not let our negative thoughts drive us, but rather drive the thoughts and make them positive. So thank you once again for giving us an insight into having a positive outlook towards life and how we could do it. Thanks for sharing all the tips. And shall we move on to the questions? And you'll be happy to know that we were overwhelmed to receive so many questions. But given the time restraint, we have picked up the most relevant and popular questions. So let's quickly dive into them. I'll share my screen and...
Absolutely. The pleasure was mine. I just wanted to add, thank you very much. I'm glad if, as I said, even if one thing would stay with some of you, I am grateful for that. Yes, let's move to questions. Questions are always a great way how to learn a lot as well. Yes.
Right. So the first question is, how to overcome the fears? The fear of being rejected, of failure, or of starting something new. So we are most of the time held back by the fears which we have. So how do we overcome them?
Yes. So fear is something that is very natural. I just want to say that everyone is having the fears. Like, so even the people who, if it's working for them, if they're successful, if they're going through a good prosperity, the fear is very natural. Fears of concretely here being rejected or failure or this is connected to the past. So it's really connected again to the limiting beliefs. It's connected to something that happened to you in your past, and you let that define you for the rest of your life, right? So if let's say if I wanted to sing when I was a kid, and if someone would tell me, you cannot sing because it's awful, and if I would stay with that belief, and then I would never try. Whereas if I would maybe train, if I would really put a lot of energy and time into that, I can become a great singer, right? And it's really the same thing with everything we go through life, either if we are rejected from a job, or if we are breaking up in a relationship, or anything like that. And rejection also, I would say, change your perspective. Rejection is just redirection. It's nothing personal in a way. It's not saying that you are not good enough. It's maybe something higher is trying to protect you from something. Maybe after all that, I don't know, position or whatever we're talking about wasn't the right one, and that was the way how you've been guided. I know it's sometimes at that very moment it's hard to see it that way, but a lot of times the time will prove it. Like the time that you understand, oh yeah, this has happened because yeah, actually good it didn't happen, or actually good I was rejected because look what happened with that company, or look where I'm right now. I would never get here if that wouldn't happen, before. So it's also a little bit like switching again when we the outlook and the perspective towards things. Overcoming the fear, our prefrontal cortex, the part of our brain, is trying to keep us safe. It's trying to keep it's hard to go to the unknown. It's hard to go out of comfortable zone. I would put it like that. To do it just to make a decision, like give it a shot, like not being held by all of that bad scenarios, but rather focus on, but what if it work out? Like what if I will be accepted? What if I don't fail? What if actually at the end, like what if this is going to be a huge success? So shifting the thoughts, again, we're really going back to the thoughts and beliefs.
Beliefs, yes. Yes.
I hope
Thank
it
you
was
so much.
clear. No
Yes,
problem.
yes.
Absolutely.
What are the effects of overthinking, and what would the remedies be for it?
Yes. So overthinking is just this thing when we really have chaos in our head. Like it's so many thoughts chasing each other. That's again like when we do not have order in our mind, and overthinking would always show in the results again. Like once you are able to consciously well, there could be more layers into this, because overthinking sometimes can be that we cannot decide. Like we cannot decide, okay, do we want it or not? Like it's coming a little bit towards decision making, like to do a decision, to decide, okay, this is going to be like that, instead of always trying to looking from it from different sides. And I'm not saying that you should not. Of course, it's important to really throw things up, like not just doing things out of, not always out of the emotions, but overthinking can be destructive because it can go on and on and on and on and on for years. And this is the hard part. Like once you need to take responsibility and make a decision. I think a lot of people are it's hard for them to make a decision because they are afraid to take responsibility. But again, you're going to learn something from it. Like, how many times I've done decisions, and I'm not saying they were good ones, but they again, like directed me or switched my focus towards something, and I have learned something out of that. It's better to do something than not to do anything. Just give yourself deadline. If you have a thing, you are thinking of something, give yourself deadline. Okay, I will put in these thoughts, let's say until Thursday, and then I will decide. Because that can go, as I said, for weeks, for months, for years. And some people still haven't decided what they want and what they don't. So I would say when it comes to remedies or like what to do, just to bring order to your mind, like a lot of times it happens to write it down, like on the paper, or if you have a whiteboard, or put the stickers. I really like when I am really having some kind of things, what I learned from my mentor, to put it all on the table. And then I'm looking at it from objective perspective. It's not part of me anymore. It's not inside of me. I put it all on the table or around the chairs. And then I ask myself, okay, how would that person that I look up to deal with this? Or how I can take this approach from when it comes to overthinking, like when it's just this huge bunch of, I don't know, like thoughts going through each other.
The noisy neighbors, as you put it.
Yes, exactly. Just put it out of your head, because either we realize it or not, it's very exhausting. It takes a lot of energy to be occupying the mind. And frankly, a lot of things we do not need to have there. A lot of times we are putting thoughts into scenarios and things, as I said, what we don't want. It's taking us energy. We don't feel well out of it. And we're creating or we're manifesting the reality or the results that we don't even want. So, yeah, right. I would say like that.
Thank you.
Of course.
We move on to the next question, which is, do you have any tips on how to deal with procrastination as a block? This is quite interesting, I would say, because personally, I do procrastinate a lot. So, yeah, I would
Yeah,
really like
I
to
think
listen to you on this.
I think procrastination is very. I think it's very common. Um, Again, when we look at it through the mind point of view, because this is something we also do in a mindset coaching I do, and we really go through understanding fear and procrastination through the mind, like what is happening on the conscious level and on the subconscious level. And once we actually do have understanding, then we actually can change things, right? Like either we have ignorance or we have understanding. If I do not know about something, I don't know how to change it. I don't know what to do. Procrastination is a direct opposite towards decision again. If is also connected to a self-discipline, I would say, like giving yourself a command and be self-disciplined and just do it. I decided I need to do this task, or like let's say I have this to-do list, and I either just look at it and postpone it and procrastinate, or I decide right now I'm going to do it. And then I lead myself through self-discipline. I give myself a command. This all comes maybe more towards, this is the whole thing, how to organize ourselves and all of that. And a lot of times from psychology, maybe we have too many things on the to-do list. Like maybe it's just too overwhelming at the first place. Maybe it would be much more effective if we would put 3 things and then have those last, 7 as a backup. And, once we are done with those 3, we can take another 3. And a lot of times actually that helps, because once we have it done, we check it off. That creates that that's feeling of, wow, I can do it, that competence, that where we really see, okay, let's bring it on. Whereas a lot of times we don't even start because we see 10 of them and we are like, okay, I cannot even do it today anyway, so I will not even start. Whereas if you would have less there on the list, it would be, okay, it's doable, like let's do it. Sometimes
Right.
these little tricks with the mind, like, and again, it might work for someone, different thing might work for someone else, but it's good to try different things. Sometimes when I have a to-do list, if I may, I would just share this. I would put exact time, how long it's going to take me, right? So if I have there do admin, like have a coaching, like create a new course or something, I would approximately write the times, and then I know if this 10 task would take me 2 days or if it would take me 6 hours. Because then I can realistically see that, okay, if this 10 things equals 2 days of work, it's no way how I'm going to do it, because I need to eat, I need to relax, I need to, I don't know, do dishes or do the laundry, right? So be also realistic, and again, like less is more a lot of
Right.
times, and prioritize as well. Like if there are 10 things, I guess not 10 is like the most important that day. Like there might be 2, 3, 4 the most important, and take it from there.
Right, right. So be ordered and prioritize. And also, I think, as you mentioned earlier, to instill that idea of I can do it. So condition your brain, because most of the times we do procrastinate because we aren't very sure whether we'll be able to achieve this task or not. That's why we keep shelving it off. So instilling that positive thought of I can do it, and then just begin doing it. So yeah,
Yes,
thank
beautiful.
you for
Yes,
that.
very true. Absolutely. So true.
Okay, so how do we get unstuck due to lack of experience in other fields?
Well, I would say like this: when there is a lack of experience, like everyone needs to start somewhere. None of this is something I think a lot of times when people start from scratch or starting a new business or a new job or a new career or whatever, they feel like, okay, I do not have enough experience, or I am not qualified enough. I still need to take that course. I still need to do that education. I still need to read that book. But the truth is that I'm sure there's already some experience that you can use anyways. Maybe it's not directly that from that field, but I mean, sometimes just to start, because by starting again, like by doing action, getting unstuck always starts with taking an action, imperfect action. I mean, this is really important. Like done over perfection. Just when you fall in love with this, like just messy actions every day, little actions every single day, it's amazing. You're going to learn so much out of it. And I mean, who there is even to say if it's messy or perfect or not? Like, we really need to get rid of that perfectionism, and that we always need to be over qualified almost, because that can be also disadvantage from my own experience. So like there is nowhere written that the more experience you have, it's always better. It's a belief. Again, it's a belief. If there is something that is holding you back, that is like chasing in your head, I do not have enough of experience, the empowering belief would be, I have just enough experience right now, what I need. And you will be collecting more of them, of course, but don't put yourself into a hard position right at the very beginning, because at the beginning no one have any experience, so everyone needs to start somewhere. So I would say just start, and it will every single day you do something, it will be a new experience. Or actually, after we are quite well experienced, I would say, or so. Just, I know that we sometimes put a lot of pressure on ourselves, and we compare a lot, and that's so destructive. So just be gentle on yourself. I would say like that, just with compassion towards yourself, and give yourself a credit, even that you want to start something new and something. I mean, that's amazing, because it took so much of courage, and like, just focus on all of those good things that you even like wanna do something.
Yeah. Right. So the next question is how to find confidence in yourself after a long time career break.
Yeah, I think confidence, or something that I refer to when I work, or self-image, is something very, very important. And there are two different levels of self-image that we have, and the one is on our conscious level, and the other one is on our subconscious level. The one on the conscious level is the way we meet and greet people, how we dress, how we look, how we talk. And then the inner, on a subconscious level, that inner self-image is how we really feel, how we really perceive ourselves. So maybe you've met with it that some people are very confident on outside, but inside they have a lot of insecurities. And this is exactly that thing when we are working with subconscious, that you cannot outperform your inner self-image and that confidence that you have inside, and therefore you need to be constantly working on outgrowing it, and that can be a painful process, of course, because we all have all these labels. We've been all put into boxes, as I said, like those beliefs are created and passed on us even for generations, the way we've been grown up, the country we are living and growing. So it's so many of these things, but I guess just to really find a confidence after the long career break, as you say here. So you've already had a career, right? So just look back and write down, like, again, like, get into touch with all those amazing qualities you have, and all of these things that make you unique, and how all of these personal traits and all of the strengths of yours, like we all have those, right? Like, and focus on those.
Right.
I mean, be aware. It's good to be aware of the weaknesses, of course, but sometimes we are so aware of it that we just put them on a pedestal and we don't see anything good about ourselves. So right. Yes, there's always two things to work on. That's completely fine. That's for the rest of our lives. It's never-ending process, right? But focus on that good, and that would be actually it's like a muscle. Confidence is also like a muscle. So maybe read it every day, or do some mirror work when you're in the front of the mirror, like say out loud some of the things that you, as I said, like you write it down first, that are these amazing qualities of mine, or record it and listen to it if you are more audio type. There are different ways how to do it, but that will strengthen that muscle, and it will get better and better.
Right, definitely. And to add on to this, I just have one thing to say, which is at times it does take someone else to tell you or to pinpoint some of your qualities, and that instantly boosts your confidence. So I
Yes.
remember giving a talk on psychological resilience, and their thing is you ought to find your tribe of people who will uplift you and not put you down. So find the people who support you, who see that good qualities in you, and instantly your confidence will be boosted. So
Yes.
definitely.
That's wonderful. Or ask someone in your, your
Yes.
maybe partner, or what is good about me.
Yeah.
But I also want to say, try to find it within yourself as well. Like, be aware, like subconsciously, okay, I own it. I feel good to be good at this, because sometimes we feel better. We are good at someone almost. That can be the case as well. Sometimes people can tell us a lot of good things, but we also, again, we need to internalize it and create it as our belief.
Yes.
But it's a
Yes.
wonderful way to start, and as well to hear it and actually be appreciated by those things. I think it's wonderful. Thank you, Soumya,
Thank you, Barbara.
for sharing. Yes.
And then we move on to the next round, which is how can you identify the important goal at this moment among all the monkey thoughts jumping around?
Yes. I would say like this. Important goal to each of us is something else right now, right? So we all have a unique, to each of us, success means something different. So you need to first define for yourself what is important goal for you, and not looking what in the sense of what society is saying that should be important right now, what is really important for you, just to slow down, like be with yourself, reflect a little bit, listen, like observe. Maybe important to you, maybe important goal to you is just to start eating healthier, or just really make an order in the head. Like maybe it is that what is the most important right now. But like just to suit it specifically to you, not to be looking, oh, this should be something that I should make my goal like. Or a lot of times we are too much concentrating on things, but we are not focusing on the root problem, and or the issue or whatever it is. So again, when it comes to this monkey thoughts, which I like the expression, it's just what is important for you right now. If you like try to free yourself from the thoughts, just play with yourself, like, I know that the situation is as it is. I'm not trying to ignore it, not at all, but it does not make any good. It does not make any good to be constantly focusing on that. That's for sure. That's for sure. It's important to be updated what is happening and how the situation is. Yes, but then we accept it, and then we say, okay, but I am creating my own reality. I can do that by my own. So, okay, what is this important right now? Considering that you are living in paradise, just like take yourself out of this, like move to the bubble and just connect what is important for you. And however you feel, this is when it comes, when you connect to yourself, like what do you feel with your intuition, or however the inner your gut, or however we want to call it, is telling you it is important. Focus on that. Doesn't matter that someone in television is saying that you should focus on something like this and put your goal like that, or some, I don't know who else. But really I really believe that once we are united within ourselves, like we just know what's right or what's good with ourselves. But we are so disconnected nowadays because of the lifestyles we are living, the pace, and like all of this. So you already have the insight. You have already answer inside of you. That's what I want to say. We all have the answers. Sometimes it just takes more work to drag them out.
That's so true.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, so how can you discern what you really want when all choices seem difficult?
Again, to what you want, I I would just like turn it around again, because when we focus on where the difficult, it's always going to be difficult. So again, changing the language a little bit and to ask, okay, what is it I want when it's easy, like when it's easy to decide, or this is a little bit hard for me because I don't really know like more into the depth, but I would start definitely with not looking already on figuring out what I want as a difficult thing.
Right.
Just to really switch the perspective, like not to make it hard at the first place, because it really seems hard. So yes.
So reshaping that whole idea.
Yes, okay, exactly.
Great. Thank you for that. Does reshaping goals become more difficult as we get older?
I think the older we are, the more of these limiting beliefs we have, and they are more deepened in our subconscious, unless, of course, we start already working on them. So that's, for example, the difference when I work with someone who is 60 and is very new to self-personal development or mindset work. Let's say, because there is this programming of this thought for 50, 60 years. So that takes a little bit of more work, but I don't like to generalize. It could be that the person is very open-minded, they really want to change, that they want to dive deep and they reflect. But it's true, and this is something that I really think it should be more in schools for children, to be aware of. If my teacher says to me that I cannot sing, it's just her opinion, it's not the ultimate truth, and therefore I wouldn't not grow up as someone who is insecure about the singing and feeling bad about it, but rather I would just go for that because I feel for it, you know. So the sooner we start, or the younger age, I think there is a chance of not having as much deepened those limiting beliefs. But it's, again, it does not necessarily is the truth. It also happens of the country you live in. Some countries are more open-minded, so the whole human being is growing up in like a different kind of setting. So it really depends. It really depends.
Yeah. Okay. So, how to support the team as a manager to unlock hidden potential?
So how I look at it when it comes, or sometimes when I'm also coaching teams or like multi-level marketing companies, and we're dealing with the leaders at the first place, or even as myself see and having people working for me, the mindset, like developing your own mindset and working on yourself to be a good example. To be a good example, first of all, you need to believe that they have that potential in themselves. You need to tell them, you need to communicate it, and then they will follow. They will, I think, just to be really a good example. And so if I require from someone who is working with me to be looking at things, okay, all is possible, like we don't take no for an answer, everything can be done, I need to be the first person who starts thinking and behaving and acting like that in the first place, so that people actually see it. I cannot tell them, no, think like this is impossible, and then I will be knocked out by a single obstacle that will come my way. So I think it's always to be a great example, and to also leave everyone with impression of increase. Like really tell the people, like really, but genuinely, like not just flattering or anything like that, but really like genuine, like pointing their strengths and pointing when they do something well. You might have no clue how this is, what does this make to people? Like when people feel appreciated, well, we do even more. If people see that they are seen, even that makes huge. And it takes, to be honest, a few seconds to say, okay, you've done this really great, or to say, I don't know, if you are not meeting, maybe say an email or say a voice message. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you. I just want to say that. Maybe that person didn't even do anything fantastic that day, but just to acknowledge them and just to let them know that they are appreciated, they matter, that you see them, that you appreciate what they do. I think that's really something that is for free, but it makes wonders.
Yeah, it makes a huge difference, definitely. So we are on to the last question, perhaps. And this is, how do we know when we have found the way to reach our highest potential? It is easy to find things that we like, but it doesn't necessarily fit us well as a career path.
Okay, I will just split it on two, if it's okay, just to, how do we know? I think when you know that you are on the way towards your highest potential is, do you have a clear vision? Like, you know where you're going, you are improving every single day, you're taking everything as a challenge instead of as, you take it as a lesson to learn from, to reach the potential. And that's what we do through personal development work or self-growth, right? Because we need to first work on ourselves to actually, it's not going to fall down here it is. And it's never-ending process. It's not the project that's going to be finished. And I always say to people, it's just on a long run.
Right.
And that's the beauty of it, because we are evolving every single year. Like, I'm a different person than I was yesterday. I'm a different person than I was a week ago, a month ago, a year ago. I'm going to be a different person tomorrow, and I'm going to be a different person in a month and in a year, in 10 years. And to really understand like how that potential, like how we are actually, to my view, like I already reached so much of my potential and I thought I would in a year ago, right? Like, so it's just adding up and up. So it's by constant working on yourself. That's how you know that you will reach it, actually. Or I think it's actually infinite. So I don't really know if it's like one day it's going to be that, or maybe, but definitely through working and exploring, studying yourself more.
Right.
That's how you would be on a good way to reach the highest potential. And then it is easy to find things that you like. Okay. Why does, I would say this is also, I would maybe need more context, but does it mean that, okay, you like to do something, but you don't feel like it, I guess, doing it as a career, right? Like, let's say I like to take pictures, but I don't want to be a photographer. Yeah. And that's okay. It does not need to always be that. I also like a lot of different things. Like, I am like more multi-passionate, I would say. But not all of it would fit to how I just don't know if it's a question or if I should just comment on it.
I think you could just comment on it, because
okay.
Yeah.
What I want to say, I think it's okay. I think it's okay to have things that we enjoy outside the work, even though I really love what I do. But I also have other things that I love, but I don't do them full time. Or how shall I say it, if you know what I mean?
I'm sure the audience gets your point, so don't worry.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you for that, Barbara. And I think we have come towards the end of the Q&A session, and I would like to ask my team if we have any live questions to be taken.
No, we haven't any live questions.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Natalia. So we are towards the end of the webinar, and I would really like to thank Barbara for giving us the time and sharing all these valuable insights with us. And I would close the webinar by saying that we really ought to try and instill positive thoughts and be grateful, because these are the two most important things which I'm taking away from this webinar today. To be grateful and to try and see your thoughts and convert your negative thoughts into positive ones. So thank you, Barbara, once again for giving us your valuable time and sharing these valuable insights with us today. Thanks to everybody who is in the audience for staying tuned, listening to us. And we promise, the whole team at IDC in Copenhagen promise that we'll be back with another webinar very soon. So stay tuned. And last but not the least, thank you to everybody in my team, the whole IDCN, who are there at the back. But without them, this webinar wouldn't have been possible. So thank you, all of you. Have a great day. Bye-bye. Take care.
Thank you very much, all of you as well. It was my pleasure. Bye-bye.
Bye.